Hey, welcome to Ladies Who Question. Lisa here and Holly here as well. Hi, Holly.
Hello.
We're going to open today's show with an RIP. And this is, we know, second one in a row. You know, last week we had Sly Stone, and that was sad. This one hits me so much harder.
Yeah.
Brian Wilson, Beach Boys. How did you feel when you heard that?
A part of my heart was very sad.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in California.
Yep.
I lived near the ocean and I thrived. And it was my time. It was like, well, it was 70s that I was into it. But it was like I hung out with surfers. I thought I was cool. And I just loved those songs.
You were cool.
I don't know about that. But they were just, I have so many flashbacks to my favorite songs and the moments that I remember being at the beach or having a crush on somebody or something like that.
See, it means so much more because you were like a surfer babe.
Well, I don't know if I was. I tried to be.
I was not a surfer babe. I mean, I did live in California for 11 years.
Okay.
And I grew up with I grew up with all the songs. I mean, because, I'm older than you, but they meant so much to my life. Those were my coming of age songs. And,
absolutely.
In my room, like the angst of, for me, it was kind of the whole teenage angst thing. Like in my room, that's where I go. And just the others, the more up-tempo, they were just fun.
They were so fun.
It was all about fun and boys and crushes.
Yes.
Everything that you're kind of obsessed with as a prepubescent and a teen. I loved it. Well, do you know what your favorite? I just jotted a couple of mine down.
Well, I forgot the name of it, but you know that song that goes, "Wouldn't it be nice?"
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yes. Because it always reminds me of a crush.
Oh, yeah.
That I had. And that one sticks out big time. And then of course, California Girls. And the funniest thing is I thought I was so cool being a California girl.
Yeah.
Never in my life imagining living in the Midwest, thinking, oh, who would even live out there?
Yeah.
Thinking it's not cool.
Yeah.
And here I am 35 years later living in the Midwest.
And you're a Midwest girl. Let's see, what is it? The Midwest girls, Southern girls like the way they talk, and the Midwest farmers' daughters really make you feel all right.
And that sounded so hokey. Like, who wants to be a farmer's daughter? And I'm a California girl.
Yeah.
But,
so I'm an elite.
Yeah. But it was a moment in time.
Yeah. I just, for me, and this is my favorite one.
Okay, which one?
You're not probably going to even remember it. It's called I Can Hear Music. I know. See, I knew you'd have that kind of puzzled look on your face. Like, what? Who? For me, these harmony, oh God, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Every time I hear this.
Listen to this.
Yeah, I Can Hear Music. The harmonies are they're always beautiful in these songs, but they send me to another place in this song. I can hear music, sweet, sweet music. The sound of the city, baby, just seemed to disappear. And then I'm getting chills up to my back.
Gosh.
Anyway, the Pet Sounds album from 1966, that spawned, that was a groundbreaker. Everybody knows that was just a groundbreaker for music. Mm-hmm. And that actually inspired the Beatles.
I was going to say a style of music. And then I forgot who came first, the Beatles or the Beach Boys?
Beach Boys. And that inspired the Beatles to come up with Magical Mystery Tour or Sgt. Pepper's. I forgot. Okay. I forget which came first. Sgt. Pepper's came first and then Magical Mystery Tour. Okay. So it inspired them because Paul and John are going like, whoa, these guys are taking it to another level,
Cool.
And they both admired, all the Beatles admired Brian Wilson so much because he's a musical genius.
Right.
Was. But there are 3 number ones. I Get Around, Help Me Rhonda, and Good Vibrations.
Oh yeah, Good Vibrations. I love that song. I love all of them.
All of them.
They
just they ruled the airwaves from 1962 to 1966. By the time this airs, FYI, we know that this will be old news, but we're recording this on June 12th, I believe it is.
Yep.
And we just felt it was worth a mention because he had such an impact on all the baby boomers, I think. Okay, but let's jump into our big topics. Thank you R.I.P. Brian Wilson. Thanks for the memories because they were all sweet. AI, we're back on it. But we have some stuff on it.
Mm-hmm. We have to always have something.
And this is going to be the follow-up to something last week I said that we would discuss more in depth because we really started getting sort of, I wouldn't say in the weeds, but we really started talking about AI last week, getting into depth about, I forget which thing. And I mentioned that I subscribed to this thing called the Big Think newsletter. And it's a philosophical newsletter. It examines things from a philosophical viewpoint.
I'll write that down.
Yeah.
Big Think newsletter.
Think. Yeah.
Is it all about technology?
No.
Good.
It does cover a lot of that, but it seems like the topics jump around. But this one stood out to me. Louis Rosenberg is this particular author. What happens the day after humanity creates AGI, artificial general intelligence? And we didn't have a really great definition about it, but that's when AI is capable of reasoning, creativity, problem solving, and planning and reasoning better than we can, faster than we can.
I can't imagine creativity.
No, nor can I.
I feel like you can't teach anybody that, and that comes from experience. And what was the one before creativity?
Oh, gosh, reasoning.
Yeah, that
Making
can't be
choices.
Like taught. It has to be kind of learned over time.
Well, but they're feeding all of this stuff.
That's so complex for me to understand that. But that's so scary.
Yeah.
Because what's that going to leave us to do?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where, that's the real issue with this is reflexively, you know how we kind of always, we can't come to a fact or a name or a statistic immediately and Google it. And we jump to that.
Right.
Well, I've always tried to force myself, unless I was really driving myself nutty, to think about it first before I jumped to it. Well, reflexively, we're going to rely on AI now before thinking of it ourselves, and it'll be even easier. And here's why. Okay. Here's where it gets super creepy. Okay. AI wearable devices. Now, those are everywhere. It's our phone. It's, I think, probably those Oura rings.
Yep.
It's, the smart glasses. People wear glasses.
The Meta glasses.
Yeah, which I had Google Glass when it first came out.
I remember you told me that. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember those.
I'm still trying to figure out how I can get rid of those. And
well, they might be worth something someday.
I know, but I really feel like there was something in the contract that said you're not allowed to sell them. I know.
Are we going to come arrest you?
Well, at this point, who knows? So
Google Glasses police.
Well, I'm wondering. Who knows? But that just scares me. I'm thinking I need to go back and look at that paperwork because I really want to unload them.
Okay.
I paid $1,500. Yeah.
Wow.
But
did you use them?
Mm-hmm. I still have video of it. Well, because I was going to use. Well, yeah, but they were. I didn't feel comfortable wearing them in public downtown where I really, but I was going to use them for animals, like to do my animal videos and studies and other things about animals. And that was because you had to write like an essay and a reason why you wanted to be. Yeah, they didn't. Okay. Not everybody was able to get them. They went through their and so I was one of the ones chosen. But I got creeped out because they got really warm at the temples. I said, "What am I transmitting so close to my brain?"
Radiation.
And I
don't know.
Well, and when we did an interview, like a video interview, and they were saying, well, what are your reaction? I said, I'm very concerned about, this. And we went into quite an in-depth discussion about that with the Google people. And I just said, I'm not comfortable with these.
Yeah.
Not that long after they discontinued them.
Two things. They were $1,500. Now today they're $300.
The smart glasses,
yes, which are probably better and smaller and whatever. Well, so it just shows you how it works.
Yeah.
And whatever happened to them? They just disappeared? Like
they stopped supporting them. So when there would be a glitch, you had nowhere to go.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right.
So they needed the tech help that wasn't there.
Gone.
Okay.
They sent out a second pair, which is the one I've got, because you had to send your other one back. And I never even activated them because I went, I'm not going to do this. And then right after that, they discontinued support. So
well, they're like a time capsule product.
Yeah, they are. I just would still like to get rid of them and make some
Well,
coin.
I would see how much they're worth. They might be worth something.
If I can sell them. Anyway, boy, did we veer off.
Okay.
Anyway, the wearable devices. Okay, so the smart glasses. I'm trying to think of what else you could be. Well, I mean, your laptop, your whatever.
Those,
that's right.
yeah.
Apple Watch.
Apple Watches.
Okay, and they're saying that they're going to be recording your actions and your reactions, okay, through your breathing, your respiration, everything, but they're going to be recording everything you say and that you see.
Oh dear. So
because they'll be activated no matter what, like your camera,
there's a
your
big
video.
think tank that's going to have all of our information.
Well, there already is one, but even more. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there is one now after this year, but yeah.
Every move we make.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, everything. And there's going to be tracking us in real time. Everything you do, you see what you hear, because it'll be able to tap into what. Yeah.
Okay. The only good thing is if somebody's kidnapped, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that's good.
And like for little children, like I've always thought that there should be some kind of tracking device when they go missing.
Well, that would be nice.
Of course, we don't want too much Big Brother, but we already have it.
Well, it's already here. So, well, anyway, it would anticipate like your tasks. And so if, let's say you were walking by, say, a jewelry store or something, and there would be like a reminder, hey, guess what? Mom's birthday is coming up. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then it would alert you to like, oh yeah, here, why don't you get her jewelry?
It's just like marketing too, like over marketing, like when you go on the computer and all the ads come up and anything you looked at, it's there the next day.
Right. But this will be prompting you. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Like, oh God.
In real time, prompting you, sort of like whispering in your ear, hey, whatever, because it's tracking and seeing and listening to everything you're doing.
Put me in a log cabin with no internet.
Seriously.
I mean, serious. Yeah.
Time to go off grid, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
if that's even possible.
If that's even possible. Yeah. If it's even possible, because so anyway, so my question is,
wow,
as a lady who questions, how do we combat that besides being off grid and,
being a hermit and living in a hole?
Yeah.
That is a great question.
Yeah.
We need to talk about this. People need to start talking about this openly in forums. And how are we going to handle this whole new wave?
Yeah. And that's kind of why I'm raising the question, because these are the things that need to be discussed so that we are aware of how insidiously and creepily they're moving into our lives. Right. You mentioned that somebody, like what I called the normies, were starting to take notice and make mention to you things about different AI, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So in my day-to-day, AI's been coming up in topics.
See?
Like in my industry of interior design, which that's kind of the last thing you think, how is a designer going to be replaced by AI? But you can actually plug in things in the internet now and they can come up with the full design. But it doesn't have the creative touch. It doesn't have the details. It doesn't have the eye of somebody that's been in the business for 30 years that's very tasteful. And so I don't know how they're going to achieve that.
And that's what we're hanging our hats on, right?
Right.
Is that individuality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's the thing. I'm glad you mentioned that about the creativity, because that leads into sort of my next item about this. Disney and Universal are actually, they just filed a lawsuit over AI. They're accusing this company called Midjourney. It's an AI image generator.
Okay.
Of ripping off Yoda, Minions, and all the others that Disney and Universal own, which is
thousands.
A lot. Yeah. So
of characters, right?
Yeah. Well, Yoda, the Minions, stuff like that, and all their other.
So I want to hear this because
I don't. Anyway, they're training, because what they're suing them about is training their AI models on their IP, their protected images, and generating protected images. The other creatives are finally waking up to take action. So Disney and Universal are doing this, and so are other creative people, other like voiceover people, and other people are starting little by little, but they were not making a dent. Now maybe Disney and Universal coming at them, but they're probably doing it just for monetary reasons.
Well,
you know?
aren't they copyrighted, these characters?
Well, it doesn't matter because there are no regulations. And that's what Disney and Universal are saying. These are, our intellectual property, our IP,
Right.
and you're stealing them
Right.
to train your AI models. And if they're training their AI models on
An
them.
AI model, you mean like a actual?
No, I mean like
Okay.
their algorithms, their AI algorithms to try to, and their AI brains, whatever, to generate these images and to figure out. The scary thing is they're going to feed all this stuff in here. And then is this part of what helps them generate their creativity? Oh, this is how this happened. And here we've got this and this. And they're going to use them where this was Disney and Universal's property. And somebody else like yours and mine or whoever was some artist's creative effort.
See. Right. They're just stealing it.
Yeah. It's kind of a big freaking deal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So what I'm saying is once AGI comes in, then they're going to be able to create this stuff on their own. That's why I led with the first sort of story. See?
I see.
Creativity, reasoning.
And there's no laws in place to say this property cannot be duplicated through AI.
No. Like Sarah Silverman was one of the first, the comic, the stand-up comic, actress. She was one of the first, author. She was one of the first to actually lobby a lawsuit, to file a lawsuit about that because of her book. They used her
voice.
And her voice and her book. Yeah.
That just happened like that, and nobody knew until it was exposed. And she's like, wait, what's going on? And
she had the cojones to say, hey, we're going to file a lawsuit on this. And now a big company, a huge Hollywood creative company is going after it. So maybe that'll spur some kind of legislation or guardrails, but I sort of don't hold on.
It's so
hope.
There's so much out there that people can copy, duplicate, create now that it's unlimited.
Yeah.
But where are the boundaries and what are the laws?
Yeah, well, there aren't any. So it's a wild, wild west.
Yeah.
And think about this social media, which actually, wow, this is weird how everything's dovetailing today.
You are flowing, girl.
That doesn't usually happen though. You know
it's a little choppier normally. Choppy waters, but not today.
Right. So that's something that's current, and something else that's current is the AI chatbots. Remember, we've talked often about how they can have what they call, we don't call it, but this is the term, hallucinations, which is basically, AI hallucinations, right?
Okay.
Remember we've talked about this?
Kind of think so.
Oh, we've talked about this any number of times. And basically it's just stuff they make up.
Right. Information.
They just vomit the information out because they just take all this stuff in and go, oh, well, maybe this is it. But they say it as if it were true or real.
Yes.
But they call them hallucinations. So recently, and this is just this week, Grok and ChatGPT predominantly are combing through stuff on X and Facebook. They're using like old protest footage, videos and clips. Oh, this is creepy. From video games, movies, and just pictures and clips to misrepresent like what's going on when they're talking about what's going on in a tiny part of LA. Here's just one example. There was a pile of bricks that was posted with a comment left by somebody, an actor or something, but they were saying this is from a left-wing protest group in New Jersey. Then it was retweeted implying that it was an organized protest. Oh, this is portending an organized protest. There's a company, which I've never heard of until this story, called Lead Stories. I've heard of Snopes. I've never heard of Lead Stories. I have to look into them a little bit more, but they fact-checked it. It was taken in New Jersey. Grok was then asked for clarification. Like, you sure? Grok claimed that it was taken in Parliament, Los Angeles, 6725, near a Home Depot, near Alondra Boulevard. Maybe you know where these places are because you're familiar with LA.
Yeah.
Anyway, during the protest against the ICE raids. Well, then when somebody, an ex-user challenged that and said, what? Then the chatbot said, I couldn't retract the statement. They were saying, wait, this doesn't seem right because they did some tracking. People much more sophisticated than I am or whatever. I don't even know how to still figure out if something's AI or not, unless there's like 6 fingers on a hand. It's really obvious. Anyway, and Grok got back and said, I'm sorry. I can't retract that statement. However, I know I sound like hell from 2001.
There was a picture of bricks that was transferred from New Jersey. They were just photo.
It was just a photo of some bricks.
What do you call it when they
It's just a photo. I don't know. I don't know if it was
And they said,
photoshopped. I don't know.
There's the bricks they're using in LA. There's the bricks, but it was just fake.
It was taken in New Jersey, but it was appropriated as if it was
used for demonstrators in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and people were challenging this, going, "Wait, what?" People who have much more sophistication than I do, or anybody, most people about this stuff. Anyway, so that's kind of the thing. It's like they're going, "Oh, bricks. Oh, well, there were those incidents that happened, so these bricks must have been used, and this is how it started, but this is where they were." But no, they weren't, because they said, no, this has been traced to a photo from New Jersey, like it was a construction, something. I don't know.
But just think about the impact, things like that, if they could do that.
But that's what I'm saying.
With a
with
fire.
Everything.
It's like, there's a fire here, but it was, just so many different things.
Exactly.
Cars crashed, and just taking a picture and then making it look like it's somewhere else and doing something else.
And that's my point. And this is just a current concrete example. And then the Disney Universal thing, they're just two current ones to say, this isn't in the future, or this isn't in the distant past. This is
now.
This now.
So they have to have people like scanning everything all the time.
I know. It's just
like, and then, I noticed that picture. Oh, that sunset was really in Hawaii, but they're saying California.
Right.
And then they just sold this painting. oh my God.
It gives me a headache.
It gives me a headache because processing this whole thing in
I know.
a large scale is so scary.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Holly.
God. Okay.
This makes me want to hug a puppy.
I know. Where's our little pod dog today? No pod dog.
No pod dog. I know. She just left yesterday.
Okay.
But that's all I got. Now, you said please tell me, you said you might have a positive AI story.
I don't think we should do tons more on AI, but I have a positive one.
Well, that's what I mean. We need something to even this out. Because these were they're real, so we feel that we need to share them.
Super
but
scary.
Come on.
But we just have to let you guys know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because every day there's something crazy going on in the AI world. Millions of things going on.
Yeah.
Well, my AI is from Monthly Dose of Good News.
Yay.
The Good News Network.
We love you, Good News Network.
Yes, thank you. You help lift our spirits.
Yes.
There's an AI smartphone app now that can diagnose an ear infection in seconds.
Wow.
With a 94% accuracy. The University of Pittsburgh has been they're doing trials on it, and they're targeting young children. So being that I had 3 children, ear infections were all the time. And it's like, I would say in the olden days, my children are all in their 30s. So olden days, 30 years ago.
Well, yeah.
It's like you got to call the doctor, and then you got to get in, and it might be a couple days from now. And
in the meantime, the kid's screaming because it hurts.
And you're just like, I just want to get him in. And we didn't have urgent care back then like we do now.
No.
And so it's great because you can get all the information from the app that you put up to their ear somehow. Then you can get a prescription right away.
So wait, the app can see into the child's ear?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The diagnose an ear infection. Not sure how exactly it works. So it's in the early stages, but it's coming to market probably within a year.
Well, if they can diagnose a lower level infection by using the camera to get close into the ear, that might be
I'm sure
good.
It has something to do with the camera getting in there and seeing that it's clogged up or there's fluid in there.
Inflamed.
And then with that information, you could send it to the doctor's office. They could verify it because this has been a verifiable way to diagnose an ear infection. It's not like a life or death thing, but at least they can get the patient on antibiotics right away.
How would that be different than just using your phone to take a picture of your kid's ear? But I don't know. Maybe it magnifies the picture somehow. Wow, that's interesting.
So I just thought that was a handy new tool.
Yeah.
That it's not diagnosing any serious disease.
Right.
But it's like a big time saver as a mom for them to be able to take care of this quickly for so many reasons. If you're traveling, but can't fly, he's got an ear infection, or just you can't get into the doctors for 2 or 3 days or whatever.
Especially because they are so common.
They're so common with children. It's like, ugh. So that's good news on the AI front.
That is, I like that.
And we welcome little things like that. That's not intrusive and watching us and all that kind of stuff.
Just watching your ear, that's all.
Yeah.
But for a good reason.
Right. The other one is a little bit creepy, and it's also from the Good News Network.
Well, it can't be that creepy if it's from the Good News Network.
It's well,
Oh,
this
okay,
is
maybe
what it is.
maybe it is.
It's a 3D printer that can print out skin.
Ew.
Okay, because
Wait, for burn victims, this would be good.
Yes.
Okay.
They can print out a living layer of skin that can grow into your skin, but it's a synthetic skin, but it's so real it can grow into your skin. It's called a bioprinter, and it manufactures tissue, blood vessels, or entire organs. And it's still in the trial stages, but it can help with wounds, it can help with burns, it can help with a lot of things. Like overall big picture, organs that can be manufactured because they're really close to getting kidneys manufactured, a few other things. And manufactured isn't exactly the right, I don't know if they're grown.
They're grown. You would grow. Yeah.
But I don't know how they could print them. But there are 3D printers that do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it could be a really good thing in helping people along with, like you said, burns. And it grows right into your skin.
Well, I'll tell you what, for burn victims, it could be a lifesaver. Of course, immediately I went to the dark place.
Oh.
This is how they'll find the skin for all the robots.
No, you're right.
But if they don't have anything to sustain it, if they don't have the veins, if you don't have the whole circulatory system and everything to sustain it, then you can't.
Okay.
But I of course immediately went to the dark.
Here they come.
Well, even as you were speaking, I'm going, I like what she's saying. You know how you can hold two thoughts at once. I like what she's saying. I like the applications. This is good. But at the same time, I'm going, and this is what they're going to use for those bots to make it lifelike.
And I think those bots, you're not going to be able to I would say in a short amount of time, within the next 3 or 4 years, you won't be able to tell if they're a human or a humanoid.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. How can you sustain skin?
Right. You can.
So that's what
they can't.
Because you can't sustain that. It's a living, it's our biggest organ.
It is, yeah. It's like, hey, honey, turn on the printer. I need some skin tonight. I just burned myself on the stove. Crank that printer on. Oh, I think I need a kidney. Turn that on.
Gives a whole new meaning to that. Give me some skin.
Yeah. Yeah. That could be a funny SNL.
Yeah.
Okay, SNL. Pick this one up.
That could be a good sketch.
Yeah, give me some skin. And the guy's cranking on the printer and this like gel stuff comes pouring out of it.
And I guess if they can grow kidneys or other organs, then you won't have people getting kidnapped and getting their organs taken out.
Oh.
Invasion of the body snatchers,
Right.
Harvesting people's organs.
Harvesting. Well, I know I did some research for kidneys, and University of San Francisco.
God, your Google search, whoa,
is on the cusp. I know, the cusp of they just did a whole trial with animals and manufactured kidneys, and it went very well. So now they're starting humans.
Okay.
With manufactured kidneys. So
okay. Yeah, I know they have to do
the organ
that.
thing is coming soon.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess that's a positive.
They do heart transplants,
right?
but they're not manufactured. But you can,
Well, some of the parts are.
That's right.
Some of the parts are and stents.
Yeah, they
other.
Oh yeah, there's like little plastic things in your body or whatever they're made of.
So you get microplastic from your life-saving aorta.
That's what I was thinking of. Little plastics in your body. That's all we need is more plastics in our body.
I love how I can immediately take it to the
dark side. Plastics? You're talking about plastic?
That's just me. I own it. That's just who I am. No apologies.
Probably next time I'll do a plastic story.
Okay, you bet. Next time we will do that. Well, I that's all I have for today. Do you have anything? I like we're ending on a nice note.
Yeah, I think we are.
Okay.
Oh, I have one. Okay, one more story.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with AI.
Yay.
And it's kind of timely because it has to do with graduation.
Oh.
And it's just a feel-good story from Sunny Skies. Sunny Skies is another Good News Network.
Cool.
I don't know. It might not mean a lot to some people, but I think it's just so touching. At Summit High School in Mansfield, Texas, every single graduating senior received a handwritten note from the principal of the school when they got their diploma. This principal wrote 400 and over 400 notes, each individual to every student.
Wow. How many again?
443.
Wow.
He personally wrote 443 handwritten letters for each graduating senior of class of 2025. And each heartfelt note had $1 in it, symbolizing the power of even the smallest act of kindness.
Oh, kudos to that principal.
I know.
That is a major effort. He took the time because, of course, he couldn't know every single 443
Probably not.
of the kids. But he did the research. He talked to people about the kids that he didn't know as well and put something together. That's wow.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. And sometimes the kids are like, oh, the principal meets the kid the first time at graduation, or it's so sometimes the principal's all, more corporate, not like mixing with the kids.
Yeah.
And of course, the school adores this principal, but that is what we're talking about. We need that humanity touch of life.
Yeah. Okay, I give that principal an A+.
Yeah, I do too.
Effort all the way.
Yeah, it almost makes me cry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing those stories to us.
Thank you for all your due diligence on these complicated stories on AI. It never ends.
I'm skimming the surface, man, skimming the surface, because otherwise I will get a big headache and I will require puppies in my arms at all times, which doesn't sound bad, even if I'm not stressed.
Right.
A lot of wiggling, though. Anyway, thank you for listening, everybody. Gosh, we appreciate it and always welcome your comments. And I think it's time to say goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.
Thanks, Harvey. Ladies Who Question is executive produced and edited by me, Lisa Dominique, and also executive produced by Holly Caulfield. Holly also does most of our research, and Claire Caulfield is in charge of technical assistance and social media. Music, My Lionheart. Sketch music by Florian Manx and Matthew Anderson. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, follow, rate, and review Ladies Who Question on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Send your thoughts to ladieswhoquestion@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and our website, ladieswhoquestion.com.
All content discussed on Ladies Who Question are the opinions of Lisa Dominique and Holly Caulfield and should not be construed as advice of any kind. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as advice of any personal or medical issue for yourself or others. This disclaimer also applies to guests or contributors to the podcast.